Yes.
Hey, what do you mean by a self paced course?
Well, the course material is available in the form of video lectures, and there are multiple practice problems that come along as well. So, you can access all of it anywhere, anytime, and they are available to you for lifetime.
No way!
Oh, yes, way. Don't delay and enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. I hope all of you are doing really great. So, before I start with the webinar and introduce our guest for today to all of you, just confirm me in the comment section if I'm perfectly visible and audible to all of you. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, if I'm perfectly visible. Cool. So I'm perfectly audible. So basically, this webinar is about, we have Khushboo Bindal with us today, and she is going to share her interview preparation strategies. So basically, cracking interviews in two of the top tech companies is not that easy. We all know that, right? And we have Khushboo Bindal with us, who is going to share her preparation strategy and her tips that might help you as well get an offer from your dream company. Also, she is an SDE at Microsoft. So, yes, let's just invite Khushbu to the stream. Hello, Khushbu.
Hi, Muskan, and hi, everyone.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. And about you?
Yeah, I'm great as well. So, for the audience that do not know you, can you quickly give them a brief introduction about yourself?
Yes. My name is Khushboo, and I am a 2020 graduate from Kamlan Nehru Institute of Technology, Sultanpur, with computer science and engineering as my specialization. And apart from my curriculum, I have worked on machine learning projects and web development projects as well. And talking about my industrial experience, so I'm having a total of 1.5 years of experience and currently working as a software engineer in Microsoft.
That is really great. So, Khushbu, can you tell us a brief introduction about your coding journey? Like, from when did you start? Was it during college days or school days? And how did you start?
Okay, so like about the journey, so it is like very interesting to share that I started pretty late actually in my college only. It's like for those students who start in their 10th and 12th, so I started in 12th in my second year. So like I was well versed with the programming languages, Java, Python, and C++ in my first year, but was not that much concentrated on the contest part or the coding platforms. So from second year onwards, I started like focusing more on the code chef challenges and the code forces, and also participated a lot on hackathons. And in my second year only, I started focusing more on my projects as well. So I first started with the machine learning projects and gradually shifted to the web development projects. So basically, I worked on Node.js that was on peer-to-peer architecture, and in my third year, I got a chance to work as a teaching assistant under DSA course. Then in my final year, so like my first organization was Optum. So Optum visited our campus for full time and the internship roles. So I applied for the full time role there and landed a job in Optum.
Okay, that is really great. As you mentioned that you worked on machine learning projects and as well as web development projects, but if we see for interview point of view, right? So, like, what plays a more important role? Is it DSA doing data structures or like working on the development side?
Okay, so like for that, I would say that first of all, we should focus a lot on the DSA part, because if your basics are not that much clear about how the algorithms are working, how you can come up with the best or the optimized solutions within time. So it will be very problematic if you start working on the development projects in the start. So just first focus on the DSA part, and then gradually start building projects based on your ideas or whatever tech stack framework that excites you the most. So you should be gradually moving to the projects then.
Okay, that is really great because students are generally very confused that, some people say that you should do competitive coding, some people are doing DSA, some are making projects. So,
Yes.
yes. And also competitive programming, did that help you in any way during any of your interviews?
Not the actually in interviews we are not facing the same questions that we solve in the coding platforms, but practicing questions on the coding platforms like CodeChef and Code Forces, so we get a pretty much idea like how can we approach things. So we get to know about the optimized solutions when we are not able to solve any question in challenge. So we keep on practicing the things on CodeChef because they are having a very good and great questions over there. So not direct questions are there in interviews, but it helps you in building a solution during the interviews.
Okay, that is really great. Apart from that, I would just like to inform the audience that if you guys have any questions for Khushbu, please feel free to put it in the comment or the chat section, and we will definitely try to take them during the end of the webinar. Okay. So next very important part is resume, right? And because you have been a part of top tech company, so like what are your opinions on how important is resume like while a company shortlisting you, and how can a student make his or her resume good and that it can stand apart from the rest of the resumes?
Okay, so like we all know, resumes are very great and the very first step for your application's shortlisting. So I would say that whatever you are mentioning in your resume, you should not fake about it. You should be well versed with each and everything that you have mentioned, because during interviews you can be easily evaluated on whatever you have mentioned. So it will also help you in giving your true picture. And talking about the projects that you should mention in resume, so like sometimes we are in a fixed situation that whether this particular project is worth mentioning in our resume or not. So it doesn't mean that your project should be a large project, or it should be a ML project, or it should be some open source contribution. So you can also start with a small project. The only thing that matters is that you should be the whole sole contributor of your project. And if you are asked upon anything, what challenges you faced during your project, and what all things that you got to know during building your project, so you should be able to answer each and everything. And apart from the projects, I would say that also try to mention all the hackathons if you are participating any, or all the contests or coding challenges that you are mentioning that you have participated. So you should mention them. And for those who are working continuously on the coding platforms, so you should be mentioning your ratings over there. So it helps to give a true picture of yourself that uh, you are a consistent learner. You are not breaking in between. So you are continuously learning new things. So these are the main things that you should be mentioning in your resume. Also, if you are contributing anything, like if you have mentioned your resume, also uploaded your resumes to open source like GitHub, if you have mentioned projects on GitHub, then try to mention those links as well, so that the interviewer can go through what have you done, what actually you have built. So these are the main things that we should take care of while creating a resume.
Correct, correct. Also, many students have this doubt that does college CGPA matter while these companies are selecting or not. So, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, in my college also, I came to situation when I was focusing more on just learning and coding and not on the academic studies. So I would say that CGPA matters a lot. So whichever company, whether it is a service based or a product based company, is visiting your campus. So some companies have a criteria of shortlisting over the candidates after your first test, after
Yes.
first coding link test. So, if you are very good in coding or building projects, web development projects, but you are having a very low CGPA, so it can hinder your process or your selection in any company. So, I would say that we should balance the things. We should focus on academics as well as give time to our coding skills during our college life. So this will help you in like giving a true picture or building a great personality of you.
Definitely, definitely. Also, Khushbu, I wanted to ask, like, what were your preparation strategies? Suppose there was an interview like 1 to 2 months after. So, like, how did you prepare? What all resources you followed while you were preparing for the companies?
Okay, so about my strategy, I would say that like consistency is the main thing. So you should be properly dedicated on the areas or on whichever thing that you think you are lacking in. So like practice daily, whether it is about building projects or whether it is about increasing your coding skills. So even after my graduation was completed, so I used to give up like dedicated time to improve my coding skills because I used to feel that I'm not that much confident in solving DSA questions. So I used to give a proper time to the coding. And I would also say that if you are once you are comfortable in your DSA part, then try to give mock interviews. So what happens is once you give mock interviews, so you will get to know how you should approach a solution during an interview, and you will also get to know the things that you are lacking in, so at the same time you can improve them. Because many times it happens that you know the solution or you know how to approach this particular problem in an interview, but you are not able to explain your approach to the interviewer. So it also gives a negative picture of you, that you are able to solve a question but you are not able to explain it properly. So through mock interviews, this part is completely becomes fine for us. So these are the main things. So like practice daily, and during mock interviews, also try to be interactive. Try to keep discussing your solutions, your approaches to the interview. Uh, Even if you are not sure whether your approach is right or wrong, just keep discussing. So it will really help you.
Yes, I 100% agree. And the mock interview part, actually, like the similar thing has happened with me. And I used to perform bad in mock interviews, but now I realize that it actually helped me a lot in my final interviews.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
regarding about the resources, so
Hmm.
like there are some data structures that we feel as a nightmare for us. For example, tries or segment trees or DB or sometimes graphs also. So if anyone is uncomfortable with some data structures or any algos, then just try to like there are many resources online, or there are many YouTubers or that are giving back to the community in a very great way. So you can first try to go through that data structure, that topic in detail, that you are well versed with their basics. Then try to solve as many questions as you can. So even if I take a example of DP, so just try to solve 30 to 50 questions in your first go. Just see the question and just try to build a approach. If you are not able to solve it, just see the solution. So meanwhile you get to know like how things are being made, how the solutions are being built. So it can help you, and it will also give confidence to you that you can easily solve things.
Definitely. Students are generally scared with the name of DSA, so I don't think they should be.
Yes.
Yes. Apart from that, like because you are an SD at Microsoft, so can you share like what were your interview rounds and brief about each round that you faced?
Yes. I will start with my application process. So, like Microsoft, it was an off-campus placement, and I applied on their career portal. So, whenever there was a relevant opening for software engineers, one role, so I used to apply there. And after, like this time, I got an interview call from them. So, first of all, I got a test link, coding test link from them. So, it was having two coding questions, so they were from medium to hard level, and there was a time restriction of 90 minutes, so we have to complete within that time. And after I completed both the questions, so I within 2 or 3 days I received a call from interviewer for the further rounds. So there were a total of four rounds, out of which three were technical, and one was the HM round, hiring manager round, and all four rounds were eliminatory. Now talking about these rounds in detail, so each round was around 45 minutes to 1 hour, and like first two rounds were in first two rounds mainly we were having the coding questions. So also those coding questions was around the graphs and dps and trees mainly, and there were also CS fundamentals that we should focus on. So they also cover these CS fundamental topics in interview rounds. And there was a round that was mainly dedicated to designing an application. So that was a really great round that I got to learn a lot of new things in there also. So and there were also a lot of counter questions in that round. So what happens is when there is a designing an application round, so you are given the problem but with limited information. So it's your task like how to like not to make any assumptions during that interview and try to clear all your assumptions at that time, and like ask the right questions to the interviewer. So this is the main thing. And in the like fourth round there were discussion on my projects, on my individual projects that I worked on in my college, and the how I contributed to my previous organization, and what all things that I have worked on, what all tech stacks I am aware of. So there was a like great discussion that I would say in the designing round. So this was the main thing.
This seems like a really elaborate process, like before
Yes.
finally getting an offer. Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
like the whole process took around like 2 weeks, 2 weeks time.
Okay. Yes, and also I would like to ask, like, is there any three things that you saw in each of the interviews? Like, you gave so many interviews, like you saw that, like you gave for Optum as well and Microsoft. So, was there anything common in all the interviews that you would like to tell the audience? Like, maybe do not make these mistakes in the interviews or follow these things during interviews.
Yes, like I would say that in all the interviews, like in our college, like first interviews, what we happen is that we don't focus that much on CS fundamentals. So sometimes that also becomes a reason for your rejection, because we take that part very lightly and focus only on coding skills. So I would say that focus on everything: CS fundamentals, your projects, and your coding skills. So everything matters a lot in an interview. And sometimes it happens that the coding problem that is provided to you, you are not aware of it, or you are not very confident about how you should be approaching that problem. So try to apply the like try to solve it through the brute force approach first, and gradually build on the solution by reducing your time complexity and space complexity. So it will be really helpful. uh, and also be interactive during the interview. So also if you are if you are discussing your solution with the interviewer, so they will also help you in getting to the right direction, or what all things that you are missing. So it will become very interactive session for you. So
Yes.
this is the like these are the main things.
And what was the difficulty level of the questions that were asked you during your online assessment as well as the interview?
So in online assessment, I would say the difficulty level was from medium to hard. And there were some questions on like trees and tries as well. And during the interviews, it was mainly from easy to medium level.
Okay, okay. And Khushbu, as you mentioned that it was an off-campus opportunity, so did you take referrals some or like do referrals play an important part in off-campus selections or no?
Like I would say that I used to take reference, but that time it didn't work that much. So if you even if someone is not able to get any referral from their seniors or from their colleagues, so it is completely okay. you just try to apply on their career portals, so it will also help you. Just and if someone is not able to get any offer, just try to apply as much as you can, and don't be afraid of interviews, because we should not be afraid of rejections. So but this is the main thing that we also already face in our college, that what if I get rejected in this particular company. This is my dream company. What if I get rejected in this? So you should not be afraid of any rejection, because like there is a main thing that I read somewhere, that uh, like failure is not opposite to success, it is a part of success. So if you are getting failed in something, then you will get to learn about your mistakes, so you will keep on building your lacking things, so it will be helpful for you.
Definitely. Also, I can see that the audience have a lot of questions. So now maybe I can take few of the questions from the comment section.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. Guys, you can put more questions if you have. Now I'm starting to take the questions. Uh, so Lalit has asked that where do you work now? So
Okay. So like currently I am working in Microsoft. Optum was my first organization that I got placed from college. So I'm currently working as a software engineer one in Microsoft.
so Niharika has asked that she's an average coder and how can she make it to product based companies? Any advice?
Okay, so if you think that you are an average coder, so there is nothing that you should be afraid of or you should be worried about. So just try to practice as much as you can on different platforms, or so whenever you are like you are having some time, just try to uh, see new questions. Try to build your approach first, and if you are not able to solve them, just try to see their solutions, and gradually you will be able to solve difficult questions as well. And the main thing is that you should be consistent in your like practice, or always try to give at least 3 to 4 hours a day, so that you can like improve your skills or be a master in it.
Yeah. Also, I had one question because you mentioned that the last interview round was a designing round, right? So, like, how did
Yes.
you prepare for that design interview? Because there are not a lot of resources for that. So, where did you prepare from?
Yeah, so there are very limited resources on system design part,
Yeah.
but whatever resources are there, so just try to like discuss. So in mock interviews, so I used to give mock interviews for system design rounds as well. So whatever you are not think that this particular solution should be the right, because you are not having a particular or predefined solution to any designing application.
Yeah.
So whatever things that coming back of your mind, just try to put it in your diagram and just try to discuss during the interviews. So also in interviews, it is not expected from you that you are giving the very right solution in the first go. So you can discuss on different scenarios. So this matters, and there are many things that you can go on YouTube as well. So you will find relevant things, and there are many like good material available over there as well.
Because I think system design interview is like there is no set answer to the question. Suppose you've been asked to
Yes.
design WhatsApp, so there can be so many things, or like there's no set answer. For DSA interviews, you have a set answer. There should be this time complexity mostly.
Yes.
So
Yes, it basically depends on you how you will be building an application, what all things can be done in order to reduce like any overhead or any bottlenecks. So all these things really should be kept in your mind while giving any designing interview.
definitely. Then Onkar has asked that how much influence does a previous company play during the interviews?
How much influence there's previous companies? So like I didn't get your questions. What actually you want to ask?
Maybe he's trying to ask because you said that you initially you worked at Optum. So did that thing affect in any way while you were giving interviews for Microsoft or something?
Okay, so regarding that one, so for Microsoft, I have been trying for 3 years now. So like this was the only first time that I got a call from them. So any organization, whether it is a service based or a product based, if you are getting a challenging work over there, so it is always great to work for that organization. So sometimes it happens that we just want to badly work in your dream companies. So this
Right.
is the only thing that has kept me motivated to improve further.
Also, guys, like as you mentioned that you've been trying it for 3 years, so I think this is a very important point to know that it is not like someone gets it at the first time. You have to try hundreds of time, and only after that, you get the job at your dream company.
Yes.
Uh, so Akshay has asked, do you have any advice for non-CSIT students? Maybe he's asking for electrical fields to get into product-based companies.
So, like my advice would be same to all the students, whether you are from non CSIT or CSIT field. So basically, if you are not from non CIT field, so you should be dedicating defined time. Like if you are in college, so just try to give around 7 to 8 hours a day on your the coding things. So like the criteria for every company is same whether you are from CSIT or non CSIT. So they will be asking the same difficulty level questions, same coding links, same criteria is there for everyone. So you should be dedicating the same time so that you are confident enough that you can crack the service based companies or the product based companies. So the
Definitely.
dedication is the main thing.
And in off campus, I think branch doesn't really matter in 90% of the companies.
Yes, yes. And also sometimes in on-campus placements, so non-CSIT students are also eligible for their interviews and for their coding routes.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so Ankit has asked that if we apply from career portal, they might want some experienced person with some extra skills. How should we be ready for that? Because in college they're only focusing on DS Algo. So is it true also? Like they are looking for very high skilled people.
So like there are two different things. So if you are a college student, you are still studying in a college. So they are having different openings for them. So there are new hire. Sorry, there are the college graduate openings are there. So you can check on their portal as well. And if you are experienced, so you can check under the experience section that they are having in their portal. So it is not that they always want you to be the like the perfect candidate every time. So just try to apply, try to be master of the things that you have mentioned in your resume, and it will work out for you. So it is not that they always want you, the great persons only to be eligible for their company.
Oh, I was mute. Sorry. So I think it depends on the profile that I'm applying for because as you mentioned, design interviews for internship, there are no design interviews. So,
Yes.
right.
Like sometimes I have also like seen some of my juniors have applied. So it depends. Like there can be some design questions, but not that deep concepts. You should be well versed with things that what is particular design patterns are there. So you should be like aware of these even if you are in college. So this might help you in your interviews.
Definitely. Know something about everything kind of attitude you should have. So now Nitin has asked a very interesting question that how did you manage your job and preparation for Microsoft at the same time?
Okay, so like for that, I used to dedicate time after my job, like working hours. So initially, I used to dedicate around 3 to 4 hours on my work on the weekdays, and on weekends, I used to prepare for like 8 to 9 hours. So that also gets sometimes hectic when you are preparing and also working as in a job. So yes, it becomes hectic, but if you are like dedicated, you can like achieve things. There is no problem in that.
Definitely. Okay, and many people are asking that is there any language preference that you thought that, like all these companies have some particular language preference according to you?
No, it is not about the programming language or any framework preference that you should be having. The main thing is that whatever language you are comfortable in, you should be able to write codes and have a proper execution on that. Sometimes it happens that we are well versed with the languages, but we are not able to write proper code on that, or we are not able to run some test cases over it during the interview, because there are some live coding sessions also, that live coding platform also, that we have to run codes on. So you should be careful with whatever language you are preferring or saying in your interview. You should be able to run codes on that or run test cases and everything on it.
Okay. Now, there's one question that how much projects, like how important are projects for the interview? And suppose there's someone who has never worked on projects. So, what are your suggestions for him or her?
Talking about the projects, like they are the main attraction in your resume. So even if you are not that much good in your competitive programming, that can be okay. But if you are not like good in projects, so by projects I mean it should not be an only an open source contribution, or it should not it doesn't mean that you are always working on a ML project or any like neural networks. So what means is you can start with a small project. So whatever language you are comfortable in, whether it is Java, so just try to build or create a practical implementation of Java. I'm just taking Java as an example. You can do anything, like you can also take Python. So you can start with the small projects and try how you can make that project better. Try to implement your own ideas to that project. So just try to work on projects on the starting phase of your college only. So because sometimes it happens that we focus on project part or at third year end or at the final year starting, so it becomes very hectic that how can we maintain the placements as well as our project part. So just try to focus on projects from your starting college days, so it will be a great
Great.
thing for you.
Yes, definitely. Then this will be the last question for today's webinar. So Akshay has asked if you had to suggest one platform for DSA preparation, what would it be?
So you are talking about the competitive platform. So like if you are very interested in competitive problems, so I would suggest for code forces. And if you just want to solve, like just want to get well versed with all the data structures, so like geek for geeks is the main thing. So like even I would say that all the interview questions that were asked with for me in all the companies that I've applied so far, they were having some direct or indirect link on geek for geeks. So it is really grateful if you practice your basics, your advanced thing from geek for geek, so it will be really helpful.
Okay, there are a few more questions, like maybe we can take them. So Mayank is asked that how much important to computer networks, OS and EBMS carry for Microsoft interviews?
So like they are very important because there are many concepts that you have to build in your designing interviews. So like in any product based company or top based company, so there are designing interviews also. So there are separate rounds for designing an application. So these CS fundamentals also will help you, like how you can approach or how you can build an application. So especially the DBMS and operating system are very important. So you should be if you are having like few days to for your interview to come, so just try to focus on the DSA and operating system DBMS and operating system part first, and
Yes.
then you can be very comfortable.
Definitely. And for internships, at least I can say that whatever is taught in college also is enough. If you pay you know, if, if
Yes.
you study that properly, I think that is enough.
Yes, like you should be even like sometimes in apply for internships in the early phases like second year. So at that time we are not that much good in some designing applications. So if you are having good CS fundamentals. Also, the OOPS is very important for every interview. That I would say that, like, so all the interviews that I have given so far, so OOPS is a very important place that it has hold for me.
Okay. So we are done with all the questions, and I've tried to take all the questions from different aspects. I hope all the viewers that are watching this, it helps them in their future interviews. And if you have any doubts, maybe you can connect with Khushbu as well on her LinkedIn. We will put the link in the description box. And thank you so much, Khushbu, for coming to the channel and sharing your experience. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Muskan, and for inviting me to the session as well. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for joining, and we will see you in the next webinar. Bye bye.